ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They looked up. Mm-hmm. I thought I saw you there. Yeah. I'm on a Christian wild hunt right now. I'm on a Christian personal wild hunt right now. He got me trying to figure out how much it's going to cost to send somebody to internal affairs training in Connecticut. West, West, West Point, Connecticut. I know. The registration for the class is $525. 4 days.
Michael?
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Investigations Manager Natasha Smith. Sergio's manager, and he's mentioned that you had some concern because you weren't given a copy of the statement.
Well, yes,
Um,
he's supposed to provide us because I previously filed a complaint with another jurisdiction, and I was always like, they always provided with a copy. You are supposed to provide a copy when a person signs for it afterwards.
No, in our office, it's our policy that we don't provide copies of any statements until after the investigation is completed because we don't want, in the past, there was concerns with sharing statements with other people, like officers sharing statements when we provided it, or complainant sharing the statement with other witnesses. And so it is our policy that we do not provide a copy. But once the investigation is completed, we will, you can do a FOIA request and ask for a copy of your statement.
Once the investigation is completed.
Yes, sir.
And when will the investigation be completed?
I'm not sure how much of the what's involved in your particular case, but we try to do it as quickly as possible. And so when it is completed, we will.
Give me a time frame.
I can't give you. I'm not able to give you a time frame. You can check, and I mean, if we haven't contacted you within the next couple of months, you can call us to see. Now, if you have an attorney,
A couple of months?
Yes, sir.
That's ludicrous. I need to work tomorrow, not in a couple of months. The I-918 is essential for that.
We don't provide that, sir.
You don't provide that?
That's what I said. Yes, sir.
What do you do here?
We investigate your police complaints.
But that's ludicrous. You do know that, right? Like, I just submitted a complaint, and you're saying that it's going to take a few more months to basically
It
get...
depends. I haven't looked at what your case is. I don't know what your complaint involves. An investigation requires us, if you have witnesses, we've got to contact witnesses depending on the number of officers that are involved. We have to schedule interviews with officers depending on the documentation that we receive. We have to get.
Well, I have asked him to basically contact the number, and he has not done that.
You just filed your complaint today, correct?
Well, yes, I did that.
Right. And so.
So how long before I get...
A copy of your complaint?
Yes.
When the investigation is completed, you'll get a copy of it. I can't give you a time frame, sir. I mean, we do it as quickly as possible. I mean, internally, we try within
how long
6 months that we try to complete an investigation.
6 months before you complete an investigation?
Not all investigations take 6 months. What I'm saying is our policy.
So how long does an investigation take on average?
On average, we try to complete an investigation within 6 months.
Within 6 months?
Yes, sir.
But you still have not provided me with... for example, I'm about to make this FOIA request about the types of cases that were previously filed in this...
About this case, about this particular incident, are different?
No, about the types of cases that was previously filed in this office and their outcomes.
Oh, you can request that. That's a pretty open. You want a copy of every case that has been filed
Well,
in our
not
office?
every, but I would just like to look up that information about the type of people who are pressing these types of complaints.
The
And
type of complainants that are filing complaints?
yes,
You can look that up online under we have a, what's it called? The annual report that comes out. I mean, if you go online, there's an annual report that's posted that'll give you a breakdown of the types of complaints that are filed, who files complaints, what district. It breaks it down to districts. So that information is provided online.
how about the executive director?
Would you like to talk with
That's
him?
when he was scheduled appointment.
Yes.
They are out the office.
Okay. So he's. I mean, you can contact him and try to schedule something with him if you like. But I mean, you can do what you're doing now for Nikisha Cleveland, and so she can see how much of your request that she can provide. But based on what you're saying to me, you probably can get a lot of your information online, because we do every year have an annual report that we post that has all the complaint. It tells you the number of complaints that were filed, the types of allegations that were alleged. I think it does give you. Do you know for sure if it gives you the breakdown of the complainants that filed? I think there is a racial breakdown, and there may be gender breakdown as well. But that information.
That's the executive director's business call.
But it seems like a lot of that information you'll get. I'm not sure such a broad request that you're asking would require a lot from our actual FOIA officer. And so I don't know how quickly you would get this information.
Got it, thank you.
So, if I were to be more specific, what type of
Fine, you.
It seems like
information?
what is it specifically that you're asking? Because
Okay,
it looks
now
like you
how
want
pronounced
all
the last name?
cases of police misconduct in the
Officer,
past year.
Yes,
That's in our
Alright.
that's in our
And this is your
annual
representation?
report.
Yes, ma'am.
It's in your annual report.
If you want, hereby request all complaints filed within the government of the DPO. I mean, we would just have what was filed here in
Yes,
our office.
yes, in this office.
And that's going, or if you go to, do you have computer access?
Yes.
You know, if you go to our website, there's a section that has, where it says our annual report, and it's posted, and it'll tell you every complaint. It'll have, it will give you sample complaints that were filed, but it'll tell you the full breakdown of all the complaints that were filed in our office. For not this year, but for
2014.
yes, for last year.
And
Now, if you want a copy of like I mentioned before about once the case is closed, if you want a copy, or once we notify you of what's happening with your case, you can do the same thing and say you specifically want any and all information related to your case and provide the case number.
and I can make that through that FOIA
For the
request.
same person, Nikisha Cleveland. That can be made through her. Yes, sir.
And you said how long it will take for you to complete an investigation?
I don't know, because I don't know what your particular case entails. What I was saying is that
And
we
what do you do
internally,
here?
we try, I'm an investigations manager. I'm one of the managers that that manages the investigators. And I'm specifically
Thank you.
Surio's manager.
So you would have access to the complaint I filed.
Right, but you just walked in today and filed
Yeah.
your complaint. I have not sat down and
Hey,
viewed
so you
your
guys are working
complaint.
what time
What
to what time?
what I tell everyone is that we work diligently to try to complete your case within 6 months. Now, can it be completed in a month? Possibly. It depends on, in a few weeks, possibly, depending on what your allegations are.
The allegation is somewhat serious. I do not have.
And then the more serious it is, that may require us to, if force is involved, we have to get the U.S. Attorney's Office involved, and we have to send their case to the U.S. Attorney's Office. And so in those situations,
It involves habeas corpus and I-918. I cannot work in this country, and I was previously arrested. So, like,
yeah, no, I understand. The more difficult it is, sometimes it takes us a while, because we don't work with MPD. So if we've got to get documentation, we have to go through a process. We can't just go to MPD and say, hey, I need this, I need that. We're independent from MPD.
so what do you do?
What do I do? I manage the investigative unit.
It seems to me that once a person has filed a complaint, it goes to an investigation, and what happens afterwards?
I would review, and while the investigator is going through the process, I'm there to answer questions, I'm there to review their work, I'm there to go over the final decision that is made. I do that. I manage the unit. That's what I do. I manage that particular person as they're going through their case.
Well, I need this I-918 like a long time ago, and I still have not received it. I'm making efforts to talk to the police, and they're not talking to me. That's the issue here.
Well, I mean, I don't know what more to tell you that I mentioned to you already. So I understand that, but also understand too that going through this process does not necessarily mean that you start working right away. All we can do is deal with the misconduct that you've alleged. It's just like if somebody comes in here and feels as though that they've had a ticket that was wrongfully given to them, we can investigate the behavior, but we can't do anything about the ticket.
Investigate the behavior without correcting that behavior?
Yeah, we would, if we determine that there was misconduct, we don't make the decision what the corrective action should be. All we can say is, yes, there was misconduct, and the chief makes a determination what the corrective action will
Well,
be.
he was not even willing to look up the misconduct. I challenged him to look at the misconduct. It was a simple phone call he could have made to the Metropolitan Police District and said,
See, that's where you think that we have that easy access with the Metropolitan Police Department.
it's a phone number he could have called, and I provided that phone number.
Did you try to call that? You've tried to contact?
Yeah, I contacted that number, and I tried to settle this with the police until they were not willing to sign off on the I-918, and now I'm here.
But we can't force them to understand that too. That, I mean, we can't, even if we find misconduct, it's got to go through a process. Where we find misconduct, it has to go to a hearing, and then at the hearing examiner, they review it and make a decision. So it's a full-blown investigation, and it's a full-blown process. So it's not like tomorrow, even if we do find misconduct, it's not like that it ends with us, because it has to go through a complaint examiner who has to review it.
Who's the complaint examiner?
It's whoever it gets assigned to at the time that we complete.
And are you not the one who's doing the assignments?
No, we don't do the assignment. What happened? I don't do the assignments.
Well, all I have right now is you've taken a lot of information from me, and you have given me no copy whatsoever, and
Yes, sir.
you've kept pretty much all the information I've provided, and made me sign a bunch of papers for which afterwards you have not given me a copy.
Well, if you don't want to, if you want a copy and you don't want us to investigate your complaint, I mean, if you prefer us not to investigate it,
That's
then
not what I said. I said that I am entitled to a copy. When someone signs something, for example, and goes to the bank, usually the bank gives them a copy.
Yeah, but we don't fall under that. We don't fall under anything that requires us to give you a copy. We don't have to provide a copy. Our policy is we don't provide a copy until the conclusion of the investigation. That's for everyone. Police officers we interview, complainants that we interview, and we're not going to change that policy. I'm not going to make that exception for you today. The only person that can make that exception for you would be the executive director, because that is his policy, and it's not a policy that's going to change.
Well, okay then. When can I speak with the executive director?
We can decide when I would make a call. I don't know
I
if you
gave
said
him
he's
Mike's
gonna.
card so he can call and make an appointment.
I would
He's
call
not
the dir-
available at this time.
Well,
And I'm the staff assistant, I'm telling you,
well,
he's not
who's
available.
the person who makes this calendar? Is there no way for me to speak with him?
Make the calendar. His calendar?
Yeah.
She thinks
I
she's
am,
the
I'm the
one that
staff
makes the
assistant,
calendar.
he's not available, that's why I
Right.
gave you the call.
To make the call,
So
so
you
that
can call and we can make an appointment, and I have to let him know that you're trying to make an appointment. I gave you his business card, would you like to have mine as well?
Okay. But I can give you a call, but you still have not answered my question. Can you not set up an appointment using your
I have
computer?
to talk to him first to see what days he's available. That's
Do
what
you
I'm
not
saying.
have his calendar in front of you?
I
Yes, but
have
she's
his
not, yes,
calendar. I
but
will
she
have
needs
to
to make
talk to
sure.
him first.
Right, exactly.
You have my direct card, and you have Mr. Tobin's card. When Mr. Tobin returns to the office, I'll let him know that you're inquiring about to set up a meeting to talk to him regarding the procedures in your case that you filed. And with that, I will have to provide him with your case number, which will be attached to your paperwork, along with your your request for the FOIA. I will inform him of all that, so when he's scheduled an appointment with you, he will look at his schedule and let me know when he's available, and I will let you know. Did you leave your contact number on the complaint form that you
The
have?
statement.
Yeah, it's on the
Okay,
statement.
I will make sure I get all that information from Mr. Ledesma. When I talk to Mr. Tobin today, I will have that information to be able to set an appointment with you.
I mean, when I first came in, you were willing to like schedule
He
that
wasn't
interview.
I told you he wasn't available then. That's why I gave you to Mr. Ledesma to take the intake process. Mr. Tobin, executive director,
So
he
once
doesn't
the
take
intake goes in,
process.
like the executive director reviews that information, how long?
I don't know, because I don't know. You mean to review it to determine if we're going to investigate?
Yes.
Oh, that will be, I can tell you that, that's Tuesday. We'll make a decision right then if we're going to investigate. About investigating it, yeah, that doesn't take any time. The actual investigation process, like once we decide that yes, it falls within our jurisdiction, that we can investigate, that's the process.
So
that I
Tuesday
can't
of
give
next
you.
week, you mean?
Yes, yeah, that we'll know then, because all of our once a week, all of our cases we review at that time. So yeah, no, whether we're going to investigate it, that's no
Thank you.
problem.
So
Yeah.
if you decide or not to investigate, then I get the copies.
You can request then, absolutely. If we
So
decide
I
not
can
to,
I can make that FOIA request on Tuesday.
yeah, if we decide that it's not within our jurisdiction, then yes, absolutely. And what happens is we send a letter to you letting you know.
What if I
that
find
it's not-
jurisdiction for you?
If you find jurisdiction for us, then you can send. If we decide that we don't, and you send us something, then it's up to the executive director to make that decision. But generally, our decision is final.
Well,
But
the law is not black and white. It's very gray, and one can find jurisdiction in any
Sure,
office.
Sure, but if our executive director makes the decision, it's done in our office. I mean, you can go to the mayor's office, you can file that.
That's why I'm trying to speak with the executive director.
I mean, he can talk to you about it, but as far as whether or not we're going to investigate, that'll be very quick.
Excuse me,
That'll
sir.
be quick.
You're recording again? I believe Mr.
Because I felt it strange that nobody would give me a copy.
With that information to you.
I explained it's our policy.
Because nobody gave me a copy and I signed papers.
I
And
understand that, but also
I have
understand
not
that
like
our
perjured
policy-
myself. I made like I have like signed papers attesting to
Excuse me, sir,
the
you're
events that have
recording?
happened.
On your phone?
Well, I'm
No.
gonna,